Welcome to You Ought to Watch This Movie, the podcast about movies from the first decade of the 2000s, aka the aughts. Follow along and explore a movie from the aughts, getting unbridled opinions from two millennials. Sit back, relax, and enjoy one of the best decades in movies.
Welcome back to You Ought to Watch.
Also known as YADM.
That's the acronym.
If the camera didn't mess up, you would have seen a back and forth of us where she made, what was the comment you made?
I don't think so, Miles.
Referencing another show, Home Improvement. Home Improvement. And which, I said it's not yachts. You ought to watch his show. Not yet, anyways.
Yeah. But
anyway, what are we here for today?
Well, we are going to talk about another movie from 2000 called Isn't She Great? She is. It was released January 28th, 2000.
The end of January.
Yes. And your two disclaimers are, one, if you haven't seen this movie, you can go ahead and pause our podcast and go watch it. We watched it on YouTube with ads.
But we don't pay for YouTube Premium because we're not chumps.
And your other disclaimer is that this is rated R for language.
Not nudity.
It does have some bad language and also sexual jokes and references. Yes. Not innuendo if they specifically state it.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, so there are your disclaimers, and now we can talk about the trailer.
Mm-hmm. I'll start us off on that one. Why is it that the trailer introduced it as if John Cleese was this main character?
Because I guess he was popular at that time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was he?
Well, I mean, I know that in the 90s and the 2000s, I always enjoyed watching a good John Cleese film like Rat Race.
Okay.
Which I don't know if you haven't seen Rat Race.
No.
Yeah. And so whenever I saw him, there is what is it? So in this television show, Arrested Development, Jessica Parker's, I believe that's her name, her character, Lucille Bluth, whenever this private investigator tricks her into, I guess, a disguise he's wearing, she always does this freak out moment. And his name's Gene Parmesan, and she goes, Gene! And so I wrote down the first, line, John Cleese, parentheses, Gene Parmesan, because I like John Cleese. I think he's a fantastic comedian. And so the rest of it is, this trailer makes me think of Ocean's 8 trailer without the whole women empowerment angle and just good feminine acting. I think this will be entertaining. And I made that mention about Ocean's 8 because Ocean's 11 through 13, George Clooney, Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, all of these all-star actors. Well, I guess later on in the teens, they came out with Ocean's 8, and it's just why you gotta remake it?
I don't think they were remaking it. They were just doing it from a different angle.
Well, yeah.
They weren't really, when they did the all-female Ghostbusters, they weren't remaking it. They were paying an homage to it. And
yeah, but
it was a different story.
But Ghostbusters was I think, a very good, remake as compared to Ocean's 8, where it wasn't.
Well, yeah.
It didn't have its own defining story on its own. It took, precedent from the, Ocean 11 to 13 movies. And yeah, it's left me scratching my head like, come on. But this movie, isn't she great? Like, it was genuinely good acting.
That's
period.
because it wasn't a remake. So I'm not sure why this made you think of that.
Because, no, it made me think like, oh, like this is an actual good movie and they're not focusing on the fact that, it's a, female front, star or whatnot. And it's just empowering, decent comedy. That was my thought process.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll get into this later, but on the internet, on like on IMDB, this doesn't have a very favorable rating.
Really?
Yeah, because
By who? The critics or the actual?
No, the people that have reviewed, like people like us who have reviewed it on IMDb.
Oh well,
so it's like
they're losers.
Most of the time I don't agree with the ratings of anything because I always, if people hate it, I like it, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. But okay, my thoughts for the trailer were: there's a voiceover because we're tracking that, and I said this is sure to be more lighthearted than the last movie we watched
by a long shot. I don't even think that's in the same universe.
And it's not something I would normally watch, which seems to be the trend for like almost everything we've watched so
However,
far.
with respect to this film, we didn't just watch it because, we started taking notes during the trailer.
Yeah, we watched it because it looked fun. So moving on to actors that we recognized, you already mentioned one person, which is good because he wasn't on my list because I don't know him.
So there's this, I gotta mention this. There's this, how do I describe this? The scene in Rat Race, I know we're supposed to be talking about another movie, but it just goes to the absolute perfection of comedy that John Cleese has. And there's a scene in Rat Race, well, there's many scenes where they're taking bets on just the most ridiculous items, right? And there's this scene where this hooker is going up to a hotel room in Vegas, and this character is, making all these strange requests, like, sitting in a bathtub full of Pepto-Bismol and like all of these things. And until she finally says, all right, no, I'm not going to do this. And John Cleese pops out of nowhere and says, all right, as that was, like, that's the thing that, made her say no. And he's, like reading off of his bet book saying, all right, who had, blah, 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 that you take this. And he's paying out all of the, like people who won the bet because, what they thought this hooker would say yes to. But his delivery is just so funny. And so, it's like, all right, here's the bet.
Okay, 3,000 is the quote. Who had 3,000?
Carlton had 2,800. He's the closest.
Okay, well, starting off, the lead of this was Bette Midler, which most of you might know her from Hocus Pocus, because she was Winifred Sanderson, but I knew her better for like a few of her songs from when her songs were popular. I'm not sure if that was the 80s or the I should have looked that up, but anyway, she is a singer and an actress.
Full disclosure, I thought Bette Midler was a Disney actress.
That's Bridget Mendler.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yes.
One of these things is not like the other.
Okay, and then Nathan Lane played Irving Mansfield, who was her husband, publicist. And I thought for the whole movie that he looked so familiar. And finally, when I checked online, I was like, oh, he was in Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
He was Teddy Demas. So I was like, oh. And yeah. And then David Hyde Pierce, who played her publisher, he's probably most well known for playing Niles on Frasier. And there was also like a small part by John Larroquette, who is from Night Court, both versions, the old one and the new one.
Night Court, like the court show?
Yeah, that's a comedy. Night Court from the 80s, and the one
I thought
with
you were like
Melissa
talking about like some
Rauch.
actual like pseudo reality court television.
No.
Oh, the actual show Night Court. Okay, I get it now.
Yes, he played Mari, like her love interest before Irving. And then that publisher guy who I was like, who is that? How I knew him, his name's Eric Ward, and he played that auditor guy on The Office when they had all those flashbacks. The flashback episode.
Yes.
And then finally, Christopher McDonald played a host on What's Your Job or something, and in the movie, and we know him from an episode of TNG.
Yes. Well, another episode with another TNG person.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Ashley Judd.
Yep.
Now
Christopher McDonald. All right. So there were a lot of people we recognized.
Yeah. Oh, so the reason that this reminded me so much of Rat Race is the opening credits, if you will. I just, for whatever reason, it had the Rat Race flavor to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
here's our summary.
You missed one person.
Who?
Oh, no, you didn't. That was Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin.
Who's that?
He's on Happy Gilmore. He's the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him in that movie, too.
Yeah. Wait, is that not Christopher McDonald?
That is.
Okay, yeah. Shooter McGavin.
All right. So here is the summary that I put together. This is a dramedy that portrays, probably not exactly accurately, the life of author Jacqueline Susann, who is famous for writing Valley of the Dolls.
Wait, is this an actual book?
Yes, it was written it was published in 1966, and it's
I
a real
didn't know
book,
this.
and it's still a bestseller or something like that.
Oh.
I can tell you for sure, but I think that's what.
So, there's not a book report due.
Well, I would have read it if there were, but
Well, of course you would. I would have read it if... Yeah, you would.
anyway. So, what are your comments? What are some of your comments?
Well, overall, although it was crude humor, I really like the fact that there was a straightforward, non-harsh crudeness in the delivery that made it bearable. They didn't harp on the crudeness. It wasn't. It really sold a reality. Like, this is just how these people talk.
Yeah, it wasn't like they were. Yeah, I was about to say this is just who they are.
Yeah. I mean, there's no other way to say it. My comments are actually pretty short as compared to your entire one-pager there. But the crudeness, that was on display, that Nigel's, whatever his name is, the editor from Frasier.
Oh, his name in the movie was something Hastings. Michael Hastings?
Well, the editor, Mr.
Michael Hastings.
Michael Hastings. So he wants to help, or he's forced into editing this book, and so he needs a quiet place to, help edit it. And so, what?
Okay, well, we're kind of like talking about the middle towards the end of the movie more than like the beginning,
Okay.
Because one, but continue.
No, interject. So in that way I'll lead back to it.
Well, I mean, I guess we should just say like this is based on a true life. This is based on a true story, real life. one of those.
A true life, real story.
But probably, again, not totally accurate, obviously. And it follows Jacqueline Susann, who is trying to become an actress. And this part of her life takes place in the 60s, but like the part that we see. But I think actually like her trying to become an actress and her meeting Irving all took place like earlier in her life than it did in the movie.
Okay.
Like more like in her 20s, not in
Yeah.
her 30s or 40s, however old she was supposed to be. But anyway, so after she doesn't become successful as an actress, she decides to, and after she meets her husband, you know, she decides to write a book instead. And so that's how she becomes famous, and she writes about like all of the things that go on in show business and, you know, all the drugs and
What?
affairs.
There weren't drugs back then. What are you talking about?
60s?
John F. Kennedy, Marilyn Monroe. What? Yeah. But
You just say Monroe.
Monroe. Yeah. Monroe. Hill. They're the same word.
All right. So back to her editor.
So when her editor wants to get this book edited, he, you know, is forced to find a quiet place because clearly their life is not quiet. You know, it's chaotic. And so they go to his parents' house in Connecticut. And I thought, you know, it was hilarious because, you know, the housekeepers, maybe this is like Connecticut uniform for housekeepers, but in the show Gilmore Girls, which we've watched, the housekeepers were seemingly wearing the exact same housekeeper outfit. Were they not?
I guess. I think that's just a cliche housekeeper outfit because there is like, you can get like probably for Halloween, you can dress as a slutty or sexy, whatever housekeeper, and it would look kind of like that.
Is that what you're going to dress up as?
No, I'm just saying, I think that's like
know.
a cliche.
Yeah, but it nonetheless,
How they dress.
it was hilarious because it reminded me of that show, or reminded us of that show, rather.
Yeah.
But when, excuse me, when what was it? When the editor, you know, was reading it and, you know, didn't understand like how certain things were worded and like, oh, this is preposterous. In comes his grandmother, seemingly, and, you know, maybe his aunt. Okay. Like, you know, two older people. And so they, you know, start reading it. And I wrote here is watching the editor's family destroy his version of reality. That was hilarious because, you know, like these women are clearly no saints, but, you know, they live the uppity, you know, sip tea on a Sunday.
Well, yeah.
And, you know, and he was like, oh, you know, it was a decent reveal. Like, oh my God, my family, they're not who I thought they were.
Well, I wasn't sure why they, out of that whole, like, the publisher, Henry Marcus, seemed to be excited about the book, and I'm sure that they had more than one editor. So I'm not sure why they had to stick the uptight editor with this, you know, vivacious, lively author, because she needed somebody probably who would, well, maybe not, but I'm just saying, like, it would have made more sense to pair her with someone who would appreciate her.
Fact, I guess, you know, it's like maybe John Cleese is the manager of the publication.
He was the publisher.
Oh, he was
He was Henry Marcus. He was the owner of the publishing company.
Oh, okay. So the publisher,
Yeah.
maybe he saw it as, oh, you know, I want this specific editor on it because I know that, you know, she's not going to respond with, like, you know, taking into consideration certain things from this uppity.
Yeah, maybe. But so some of my thoughts were, I liked how throughout the movie Jackie, and Irving would go talk to God in like by this tree.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
And I liked that it was like real people talking to God and not just like pious people or religious people talking to God. And it was nice. And also, there was, since you've been talking about other movies and TV shows.
Do you have 2 pages there?
No.
Oh, I thought you were about to flip a page.
No. Anyway, the scene where Michael Hastings, the editor, comes to, the first time he comes over to Jackie and Irving's house or apartment or whatever it is, and there are all these people, they just keep showing up for breakfast or brunch, and it reminded me of that scene in the apartment in The Great Gatsby when,
Jay's trying to leave.
No, Nick, when
Nick.
when he's trying to leave and everybody just keeps showing up. They're like, stay.
Stay. Oh, you want to try some drugs? Oh, no? Okay. Well, hey, here, kiss me. Puts drugs on tongue.
Yeah. So it reminded me of that scene because Michael was just kind of like that. He reminded me a lot of Nick Carraway.
Oh, man.
But, so I'm trying to see. I have things starred.
Well, read them.
Well, I'm trying to see what I want to say next. I wanted to say there was a time towards the end where there was like a telegram and it just was like, oh, old tech alert.
A telegram?
Yeah, because it was a telegram and it said there was a message stop.
Oh, yes. Message. Stop, yeah.
Yeah, from England. It was from England or something. Yeah. And it was just, it made me laugh. That's all. And I wasn't sure. I tried to find this answer, but I couldn't find a definitive answer. But I didn't think that the F word was used this much in the 60s. But I could be wrong.
Wow.
I feel like they probably had some other bad words, but maybe not the F word, which they kept dropping throughout the whole movie. F word? I'm not saying that. Everybody knows what the F word is.
Friend?
Okay, moving on.
Feline? Phantasmo?
It's a bad word. That's why we can't say the whole word.
Oh, fudge puppy.
All right. So, what other thoughts do you have? What other thoughts do you have?
That was the end of my thought.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah, I told you it was short.
Oh.
I kept short notes.
Well, a lot of mine were just comments that we don't need to
rehash over. Okay.
Yeah. But I liked this movie. I liked this story. I mean, we don't know how much of it's actually real, but
I'd imagine half of it.
I just thought it was a nice, fun, maybe not nice. It was like a fun movie.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun movie. Before we get to our grading, I was going to prompt something for our now dozens of viewers. And I don't know, like 30 or 40, is Colin and I have a disagreement about how to track on, watching movies. And she thinks that we should just go from 2000 and move forward to 2009, one after the other. Chronologically, thank you. And, she makes a good argument that it will allow us to, oversee trends. My concept is that we do 5 movies per year. So 5 episodes for 2000, 5 episodes for 01, etc. And then we cycle back. And so every 11th episode, if you will be us starting back at 2000. So
you mean we'll do 5 from 2000, 5 from 01, 5 from 2000, 5 from 02, 5 from 2000?
No. Every 11th episode, every 100th episode, we'll cycle. 5 times 10, 50. So
Yeah.
math is hard. So we'll do 5 from 2000, 5 from 2001, and then all the way to 2009, and then we'll start back at 2000.
Yes, but who do you think is going to solve this? The viewers? They're not going to comment.
Well, that's why we're inviting them to comment.
Whatever. Just because they comment doesn't mean we're going to do what they say.
That is wife speak for we're doing it my way. I don't mind. I just wanted to present that to the viewers.
Well, we'll see what they say. But one thing we are tracking is, well, not tracking exactly, but I've noticed already that older movies are shorter. So they're easier to fit in.
Well, not if you're, the Titanic.
Luckily.
That takes 2 VHS tapes.
I know. Luckily, that didn't fall within our scope.
Did they ever make like VCRs that could, literally just play like back to back, like since it was a double VHS or for those long movies, that way you didn't have to like switch it and that way it just took over whenever it was time?
I don't think so. But like what other long movie happened in that era with VHSs? I know with Laserdisc, you would have like 2 discs for some movies, like Star Wars.
I think we have a Star Wars with 2 discs, if I'm not mistaken.
What, we do?
Yeah.
You mean a DVD?
Yeah.
I'm talking about Laserdisc.
Oh, what's the difference?
No. Laserdiscs are these big. They're like a DVD, but like they're like this size. They're like a vinyl, but they're not a vinyl. They're just a large disc. And that was the thing before. That was a thing before VHSs and also betas.
Oh, okay.
Betas were like those tiny ones that are like 2/3 the size of a VHS.
Oh, okay. Oh,
with
okay.
1 tape.
Yeah.
Instead of 2. And you thought you were from the 80s.
I am. It's not my fault that you paid such close attention to your, dad's history lessons growing up.
How? I mean, what do you think? It was just him.
Oh, both
My
your parents.
Yeah. But anyway, no, I don't know. We had lots of movies.
Yeah, I guess I said that just because I see your dad now having some equipment to watch those still having them.
Yeah.
Okay, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him. That's funny. Well, to our rating or grade, I will give this an 86.
Oh. Okay. I gave it an 80.
Okay. So you give it a flat, or wait, would that be a B minus?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, what makes it a minus?
I feel like if it's like 80
72?
to 83,
Okay.
and then like 84 to 85 would be like, or 84 to 86 would be like just without anything, and then 87 to 80 to 9 or 89 would be a
7.
plus.
All right.
Like every
I wasn't
3,
sure
I don't
last
know.
time I was editing this if it should be a minus, but now I have some parameters, so that's good.
I don't know if that's right, but I would just think every 3 or 4 numbers.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I can deal with that. Well, other than that, we'll be back here in 2 weeks to review a new movie, and comment on our little back and forth.
How would you like us to continue?
5 episodes per year at a time, or
continue on through 2000 forever.
Well, we're through
2001.
January, so we got that going for us.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, I'm Miles,
I'm Colin.
and this has been Yadam, or
You ought to watch.
see you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to You Ought to Watch This Movie, a podcast about movies from the first decade of the 2000s, aka the aughts. Be sure to subscribe for new episodes covering movies you ought to watch. We'll see you next time.